Good morning, everyone. Virgo Triad here. It is March 8th, 2018, and I hope everyone is having a good week. This is just going to be a short video, and I wanted to just update those of you because of the video that I did on Tuesday with regards to the gurus that are out there selling packages and some of the statements that I made within that video. Which I'm very glad I did because I have an inbox now full of customers of those package purchasers that are now giving me information with regards to what they found out after they got their packages back and sent off their paperwork. I'm not going to reveal names, obviously, because I do not want to invade anyone's privacy. It's embarrassing enough when you are scammed. And in this case, the majority of these that I'm receiving do not have to do with the ACH redemption process, but rather the accepted for value or the A4V process. These individuals that have come out and have sent me emails and information and copies of the paperwork are very upset, and they are in the process now of gathering information together in order to forward it to the state's attorney general that would deal with this individual. But I do need to forward on this information to you that I got from several of them. For those of you that have purchased a package that has to do with accepted for value under secured creditor status or just simply accepted for value, this is what is happening. The customer that was a customer of a particular guru that's here on YouTube sent me an email this morning, and the email stated that they forwarded off their accepted for value information to the U.S. Department of Treasury as they were instructed. They stamped it with the appropriate color, the red, and then signed everything in blue as they were instructed to do, followed the instructions to the T. They went ahead and forwarded off the information to the U.S. Department of Treasury, and a couple of them actually forwarded them off to the creditors with instruction to forward off to the Treasury for the creditors. They've received information back from the Department of Treasury that is threatening and scary. It's a threat of a $5,000 fine anytime that a frivolous piece of paper has been filed with the Department of Treasury beyond this point. That this scenario has gotten so bad with the accepted for values packages that are being sent that the U.S. Department of Treasury is now actually forwarding those people directly to the fraud alert page, in which I'm going to go ahead and go over with you now. Now, I want to keep in mind that the majority of these people went back to the specific guru that sold them the package and asked them, why did this happen? Why did this not work? And they all got the same response. That response being, you either did not follow the clearly written directions that were on your package properly, or you simply have not done enough research on your own. Now, once again, per the video that I did on Tuesday, this is the exact response that you're going to get back from these gurus that you've paid anywhere between $350 all the way up to $1,200 for these packages. They don't have an obligation to you because within their terms and conditions, they state that they're not responsible for what your results are. They simply will come back with the claim, if you get nasty with them, that you paid them to fill out the package, or you paid them for the paperwork and instructions, and therefore they owe you nothing. Now, when you go back and you ask questions, if you're not getting charged for consultation, you're simply getting a emailed response like these people have gotten that says, guess what? Not my problem. You didn't do it right. So again, this is just another warning of what we're seeing come back for those that have purchased packages for accepted for value. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read this to you. I'm only going to read a portion of it that matters according to the accepted for value scenario. I'm going to link this. Everyone needs to go in and read it. It goes into great detail with regards to how these fraudulent acts are being carried out. And for anybody that decides that they're going to tell you that by you being a secured party creditor, this would change, that's not true. And you can contact the Department of Treasury and talk with them in the Office of Inspector General, and the investigators there will explain to you that what's being touted with regards to the secured party creditor mixed with the A4V information and all of this stuff is simply a falsity. Now, you do have certain protections and certain things that can be done as write-offs with regards to being a secured party creditor, but accepted for value is not one of them. It incorrectly asserts that the United States government has trust accounts linked to each citizen. Once again, that simply is not the case, and so therefore it is actually a complete falsity. All right. The U.S. Department of Treasury Office of Inspector General investigates individuals' use of fraudulent Treasury-related financial obligations or accounts to attempt purchases or pay debts. Fraud perpetrators across the nation have recently begun to use fraudulent promissory notes and/or private bonds as vehicles to defraud investors out of hundreds of millions of dollars. The Department of the Treasury is also aware of several fraudulent schemes that involve what are claimed to be securities issued or backed by the Treasury Department or another part of the U.S. government. These scams have been directed towards banks, charities, individuals, and companies which seek payment on the fraudulent securities. Many of the scams originate from persons attempting to avoid paying tax obligations. The Internal Revenue Service provides additional background and information on these scams here. So you can click that for the information with regards to paying back taxes and the information with regards to people that are actually attempting to try to go through Treasury Direct and falsely claim that you have securities there because you've put your social security number into a calculator based on what a guru told you, when in reality, that's not how the calculator works at all. A lot of people have attempted to try to use paperwork in order to get those bonds out through the Treasury Department, which is part of Treasury Direct is part of, and as a result is now getting in trouble. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on from there. You can click here on the link that I give to you, and you will find, if you have information that you need with regards to those two things. Now, here we go. Another scheme is a variation of a common fraud generally known as redemption or acceptance for value that incorrectly asserts the United States government has trust accounts linked to each citizen. The theory is not supported in fact or law and has been soundly rejected by the federal courts. Perpetrators will annotate or stamp invoices with accepted for value or similar language with various numbers purporting to be account numbers. Such annotations are without merit and establish no rights or privileges in any federal or state account or agency. Now, it goes on to talk about a lot more, and it also gives you a great number of links down here of examples of known phony securities, historical bond fraud, prime bank instrument fraud, how to protect yourself from investment scams, all kinds of different things that they have added into their fraud page. The reason why is because we have so many of these accepted for value videos and websites that have now gone up as an alternative way to rip you off through these packages, that they are now seeing them come back through people's tax returns and with the influx of these packages being sold on YouTube and other platforms, now we are seeing that there are so many that are hitting the Treasury that they're finding it necessary to actually make more statements with regard to very specific names of what these things are. Before this, the accepted for value scenario was not really mentioned in that manner as accepted for value because they were simply putting it under the redemption part of the fraud, which encompassed everything. But now accepted for value has actually been added to this page so that everyone is aware that it matters not whether you're trying to do this by using a federal routing number through an ACH process online, or whether you're using a stamp that says accepted for value, unable to levy or whatever the statement is that's being used in red and signing in blue and putting the date and using your back of your social security card to check and see where your Federal Reserve routing number is, and then using that routing number with your social security number. All these things, or the routing number with the number on the back of your social security number in red, all of these things are complete scams and lies, guys. And this is the United States Department of Treasury that is telling you, which, by the way, for those of you that want to come back and you want to say, hey, you know what, Virgo, they're going to say that because they're government. Well, yeah, they're also the people that would have to approve the accepted for value that's being claimed. I don't care whether you send it through a creditor or whether you send it off yourself. It matters not what affidavit you send with it. This is the actual government agency that you are soliciting with that document that says accepted for value that they have to approve. Just think about this for a minute now. Now, you may think that you're going to be able to forward in all of this paperwork and that they're going to change their mind because somehow your paperwork is special. But let me explain this to you. Your paperwork is no more special than the 6 people that emailed me overnight explaining that the packages that they received had instructions and envelopes, everything with them. They did exactly what they were told to do. Okay, and now they've gotten back a letter and been forwarded over to an area that the fraud page is expressly talking about here. So if the Internal Revenue Service, the Department of Treasury, is telling you that they are not going to provide you with payment out for this accepted for value nonsense, then I don't know what kind of cognitive dissonance you would have to make you, for some reason, think that it's okay to continue to forward these documents in. Nor do I understand why anybody would risk getting a $5,000 fine. For those of you that have already done this, you may want to contact me. Go ahead and use virgotriad at protonmail.com. The reason I'm saying that, and I'm not going to give you information on a video, is because a lot of these gurus watch my channel. They don't like the fact that I'm exposing them. But if you want help, if you want assistance, because you have already forwarded these accepted for value items in and you're afraid you're going to get in trouble, then you need to go ahead and email me, virgotriad at protonmail.com. And I will try to walk you through the process that I spoke to someone about to see whether or not you can get information into them that you are, you were misled. Another thing that you can do is forward me the information so that this way I can forward you to the appropriate Attorney General's office that you can file a claim against the party that actually gave you this information. For those gurus, and there are a lot of them that are selling on YouTube, that are selling on a web platform, and they're using acceptance for value as a claim that you can get out of debt, or they're using secured party creditor mixed with acceptance for value, or they're using access your TDA account. These are false. They are all false. They are all scams. They are all ways that could potentially get you into trouble, cost you a lot of money, and they are all ways that you could potentially have yourself audited or potentially have yourself indicted. So we really need for you to pay attention to what it is that's being said here. Now, I realize that the majority of you are going to come back that believe in this and are going to say that this is misinformation. It's not my misinformation if that's the case, because the Department of Treasury has sent out a very clear warning here, letting everybody know that this is not real. What you are getting is not some magic words that are going to make the Department of Treasury pay out a debt. Accepted for value is not real. And anyone who tells you that it's real and that it works is simply not telling you the truth, or they are repeating like a parrot what one of these gurus has told them. Right here on the Department of Treasury website, in their fraud alert section, I will put the link in the description for you to follow. You can look up all kinds of information on here. They cite the laws and also state in here that it's a violation of federal law to misuse the Treasury seal or the words, titles, symbols, or emblems of the Treasury Department, which a lot of the gurus are doing. So just so that you guys are aware, if you are looking for a way to get out of debt through a package that is a redemption package that has anything to do with a Treasury direct account, with a birth certificate bond, with a Social Security bond, with accepted for value. I don't care what kind of proof these people claim they have, that they never seem to be able to show you. The Department of Treasury, which are the ones that would have to actually pay out on these frivolous papers that you're sending in, is saying, don't do it, because we will fine you for frivolous paperwork use. This is costing them time and money and keeping their employees from being able to do what they need to do, and they are fed up. They're sick of it, and they are starting to work with the FBI and different places now to go after those that are touting this information. And it doesn't sound like it's going to matter what the terms and conditions say. So, as I said, for anybody who needs assistance or feels that they might have been scammed, please feel free to email me, virgotriad@protonmail.com. And I will do the best I can to assist you in order to try to keep you from having a problem with the Department of Treasury. For those of you that might have had someone else file your tax paperwork and you're filing frivolous paperwork that you already know you are not entitled to, things like going through the Department of Treasury Treasury Direct website, putting in your Social Security number into the calculator, and then filing the paperwork in order to retrieve that bond via the Treasury Department. If you have done that, you need to email me, okay? Because you are in a situation that you really need to make sure that you have some assistance. That is theft, because there are no bonds that are in the Treasury Direct website that belong to you unless you purchase them yourself, and of course then you would know that they are there. So this is a very important video. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are angry because of this video. I am trying my darndest to keep people out of trouble. And if you don't appreciate that, I'm sorry. But I will not stop, because the gurus will not stop. They are not going to stop telling you lies and gathering as much money as possible from you. Therefore, I will not stop trying to make sure that everyone knows that they're lying and keep you as safe as possible from the standpoint of financially and physically out of federal prison. So, try to let your logical mind take over here. The Department of Treasury is who would have to pay out on a supposed accepted for value. They're saying accepted for value does not exist. It's a scam. Okay, guys, everybody have a good day. Hope to hear from some of you that may need some assistance. I will do the best that I can to get back to everyone over the next few days. Bye-bye.